Hello YouTube, the Orange Clown here. So, just want to do a quick little video, and it is about Ukraine. Those of you who know me know that I fully support Ukraine, that I am a Republican, that I support Trump, and that I am conservative. And I think like everyone else in America and Ukraine, we have a lot to think about and a lot to process. So here's my little bit for what it's worth. I think first of all, I think we need to consider what Trump is dealing with at home. Um, Biden was known for giving a lot of aid to Ukraine, which I think is great, and I think that was beneficial. But at the same time, there was a concern raised that the reason why Biden was doing it could have also included him not wanting to talk about the criminal business transactions that him and Hunter Biden did. So it's better to have people saying rah rah rah, go Ukraine, rather than having them wonder about why U.S. aid was refused to Ukraine, or at least threatened to be refused, unless the prosecutor for Hunter Biden was removed. Just stuff like that. And then there is Hunter Biden's behavior with oil companies, and he's being paid millions of dollars even though he knew absolutely nothing about oil. He knew a lot about cocaine, but not about oil. And just stuff like that. And so I think if you look at Trump, his problem is how does he differentiate himself from Biden while at the same time supporting Ukraine? And I think he is doing the right thing. He is getting Europe to help Ukraine. And I think part of the confusion here in the US is we're so used to being the cavalry that comes charging in at the last bit of the battle and helps save the day. Look at World War One. Look at World War Two. We held back, and then when things got really dire, we stepped in and we helped participate in the victory. And I think that's kind of our mindset. And I think it's time for us as Americans to adopt a new mindset to be part of the beginning of the process and then let someone else come charging in and save the day. And I think that's Trump's goal. If you look at, various nations, European nations, they're all stepping up. They're willing to do their part more and more. You look at the EU, at the European Union, if you look at NATO, they're all stepping up. So Trump has said, we as America are going to step back and let Europe deal with their thing. And I think we've done enough to help um, Ukraine. I think that we can still help by technology and support logistics. But I think that we need to dial it back and dial our role back and let Europe step in and start doing their thing. And I think that would be a great way to ensure the peace. If you look at World War One, President Wilson tried to, in the post-war period, try to make America the arbitrator of peace and humanity and blah, blah, blah. We had another round of the war in the form of World War Two, which was far worse. But when we, in World War Two, tamped our ambition and we let Europe do their thing, we found peace. Now, obviously, we still participated, but we were able to create a lasting peace. So I think that's something that I think as an American, I know, you know, Europe can take care of their own. Now, again, I think we can definitely help out in Ukraine still, but not to the extent that we're doing. And I think Trump is doing That I think that's his end goal. Um, and I think it's great. I think it's the best way to go forward. Um, I would also caution reading too much into that conversation in front of the TV. One of the things I've learned about diplomacy, and this is still true, is that the diplomacy that we see is just the very tip of the iceberg. There is a lot of diplomacy that's secret, that's quiet. So rather than thinking that the exchange between Trump and Zelensky is the be all end all, I can assure you, almost guarantee you, there's a lot more going on quietly behind the scenes. I think also, if you look at Ukraine and what they're going through with the war and their mineral resources, I think this could be beneficial to the US and Ukraine. So, one of the things that people overlook in US history, and I think that Ukraine can learn from, is that when we were in the Old West, in the Wild West, about 1870 to about 1910, we had a lot of mineral resources. And we really didn't like the British. You know, the English were sneaky. We didn't become friends with the English until World War One, which was in about 1915. But in the time of the Old West, there were a lot of suspicions. I won't get into what they were, but it involved the Revolutionary War, the Barbary Pirates, Civil War. The British were interfering with that. And so there was just, the prison ships during the Revolutionary War, and there were just a lot of antagonistic feelings towards Britain that we had in the U.S. But Britain had money, and they had capital, and they had expertise in mining, and we had natural resources. And we worked with the English. The English invested a lot of money and sent a lot of expertise to help us develop our mines. Now, of course, the British benefited, but so did we. We both benefited. And then eventually, we developed our own mining acumen and were able to support ourselves until the environmentalists got involved. But I think that Ukraine can do the same thing. We can come in with our mining expertise, help Ukraine develop their mining acumen. Ukraine benefits because now they have a market for their rare earth metals in the U.S. They get their mining operations off the ground, so to speak. And I think that's especially important because if you look at history, Russia's doing what the Germans did to France in World War One. They destroyed France's industrial capacity out of spite. And Russia's doing the same thing in Ukraine. It's part of warfare. It's the economic after effect of war to destroy your opponent's industrial capacity to keep them from being able to rebuild. It's vicious, it's cruel, it's rotten. And I'm not saying Germany of 2025 is like that. I mean, obviously they've changed and they're just a wonderful country, but unfortunately the Germany of 1915, 1916 was not that good. But I digress. Russia is repeating that same process, and where they're trying to destroy Ukraine's industrial capacity. So if Ukraine is willing to let the U.S. come in and work with them to help them rebuild their mining capacity, give them a ready market, it benefits both parties. And then I'm sure that Ukraine, once their expertise is back and once their equipment, the machinery, whatnot, it's rebuilt, modern stuff, turn them loose. Boy, Ukraine will be a great trading partner with the U.S. and will be on great terms. So I think that is the goal. I think that's the long-term game plan. And in the meantime, though, we in America need to step back and let Europe take the lead on this. Um, and in the history books, I think it will be written that the U.S. was one of the first ones in. They stabilized the whole mess, and then when things started to get critical, other nations stepped in, and they carried the torch to the end. And I think that is the goal. I support it. I support Ukraine. I support the U.S. I support Trump. I support Zelensky. Please let me know what you think about my feelings about that. Um, they're supplemental at best, and if nothing else, we can have a good conversation about it. All right.